What's up, everyone? How you guys doing? Hope you guys are all having a great day. Today we talk about Silver Surfer. If you go around Reddit and you go on Discord, you may see that a lot of people are touting him as a Doctor Strange or like a Scarlet Witch type character, the first character that you drop if you really want a power boost for your team, especially in Arena. Today we'll be looking at what change that he had, although very minimal, but we're going to look at what Surfer is going to bring to the game with his current rework, and whether or not he is still a good character, because maybe he is. It is true that he is the first to be dropped from the team, just like a Scarlet Witch, just like Doctor Strange, but does he have the same power levels as to them? We'll discuss that and more in this video, but before that, do know that I stream live on Twitch, link in the description below, and let's begin. So just to give a rough idea of where Silver Surfer is right now, I think the most important thing is to look at the stats, because effectively Surfer's kit did not get touched at all. The only thing that Surfer got was for himself entirely, was the Annihilator tag to work with the other 4 members. But let's look at the main part of his kit, which was the rework to his stats. If you look at the blog that was released right at the end, it will have stated that he has actually had a massive upgrade to stats like health, damage, which is not that much, but still pretty substantial, armor, focus, and resistance. If you look at Silver Surfer in the character stats, which shows all characters at similar levels, you actually find really interesting things about Silver Surfer. First and foremost, Silver Surfer has the 7th, let me just zoom this in a little bit, has the 7th highest health in the game right now, above Super Skrull, by the way. As for damage stats, he is 13th, which is quite amazing because his damage stat only went up by 59%. So he is the 13th highest damage character in the game. As for armor, he is the 4th highest character. For focus, he is the 2nd highest, just slightly behind Old Man Logan himself. And as for resistance, for the first time ever since the early years of Marvel Strike Force, Jessica Jones is no longer the highest resistance stat character in the game. Silver Surfer now takes that throne, and of course that is helped by his passive, obviously, where his passive gives him resistance and focus stats off the bat. So that is basically his stat. So as a stat character, Silver Surfer is massively strong, right? But the stats can only show one thing. The other important thing is to also look at his kit. And for those of you who weren't here for the release of Silver Surfer back in 2021, Silver Surfer was the character that initiated the first wave of quote-unquote power leap, as coined by a former CC for the game named Philosopher. And you could really tell the difference between the power jump in terms of both not only stats but also power, also in terms of the kit as well. I think it's quite ironic that the second time we have this like power boost, so on and so forth, Silver Surfer is a major part of it, with the Annihilator team, the first full-fledged team to be given this power, if you're not counting Ares, because he's a plug-and-play solo character. Let's start with the basic. All right, because as I was saying, when Silver Surfer came in, obviously his kit was very powerful, but with no rework to his kit, how good is he? So we're gonna start off with the basic, which is pretty good. All right, you know, normal attack does quite a bit of damage because it's piercing, and then you transfer all negative effects from your character to the primary target, and you don't have any negative effects, you then transfer the enemy's positive effects to yourself, which at that point of time made him a very good case for striker, because you're able to transfer the negatives back and then you take away their positives. The one thing that has changed ever since this Silver Surfer was released is the introduction of Safeguard and Trauma. So it is obviously not as foolproof. You know, if they have Safeguard, you can absorb it, you can't steal, can't transfer because it's transfer, it's not copy. So even if, let's say, they have safeguard positive effects, you can't just duplicate it as some other characters will be able to do so. Like, for example, 2099 with death proofs, because that is a copy. So obviously the basic is not as like foolproof as it was in the past because of safeguard and trauma. But I do believe that you may still want a striker, but like I said, this may be situational once the full team comes out. You know, maybe as a raider, he may be more useful. The special is a 5-turn, 5 cooldown skill. You which is very, very strong, piercing and disruptor for 2 turns if you have the T4. Without a T4, you only have a 1 turn. And then you also apply defense down to adjacents. And the one thing is that about these attacks is that it can never be counter-attacked. So it's very similar to Archangel, for example, where his abilities cannot be counter-attacked. So this is also pretty decent. But the bread and butter and the main part and the main thing about Silver Surfer when he came in, the big thing was his ultimate. Where you attack all enemies for 350% piercing, you clear immunity and apply heal block for 2 turns, which is pretty good because you're then able to just relieve all the positive effects. And then you know, obviously heal block is pretty good as well, and you're able to clear charges on the primary target as well as put ability block without the T4. So that's with the T4. Without T4, you can't clear immunity, you don't apply heal block, but you get the 2-turn ability block without the T4, which by all means is pretty good because 2-turn ability block means that they are basically a little bit neutered for those 2 turns. And also, as you see, can't be blocked or counter attack, which I think is pretty interesting for in his case for Raider, because he can't be blocked. He can put maybe on his team, for example, maybe there could be a solid choice for Raider because of that. So yeah, looking at it, it is still pretty decent. Maybe not as like extensive as the kits of today. You know, Silver Surfer being released 3 years ago didn't have like the Wikipedia length page of length of abilities that we see sometimes in the characters of today. That being said, it is pretty effective, you know, to be able to strip positive effects and everything, to strip charges, to clear immunity, put ability block. I think it's pretty strong. And then we look at the passive, which is also one of the very important parts of his kit. On spawn, he gets defense up, which is actually pretty crazy if you think about it, because defense up increases his resistance, which he already has the highest resistance in the game. You know, if you put defense up, means he has much higher resistance. Maybe not as strong as like Black Knight with defense up, but that being said, by stats alone, it is a pretty insane thing to have for 3 turns. And then you also on any turn heal, which is pretty good. And this is the main part of the kit. All right, the main part of the passive. On every turn, he gains 50% speed, up to a maximum of 45% speed. Speed and speed bar, by the way, are 2 different things, right? Speed bar is the gauge that you fill up to 100%, and then you're able to take a turn. Speed is basically how fast you're able to fill up that speed bar in essence. So basically, when he takes first turn, right, he'll get the 50%. So when in between his first, second turn, he will have the 15% speed, which in this case, Silver Surfer has 126 speed, if I'm not wrong, on base. Yes, 126 speed, which means that according to my calculations, the first time he gets the speed, it will be 144.9, probably 145, and then 163.8, and at the max it will be 182.7 speed. Absolutely crazy to be able to have a base speed of 182.7 without anything like speed up or anything like what's this thing called, Emma Frost, for example. Like if you put Emma Frost there, you're just go mad, and you see that as he gets faster, he's able to take more turns, he's able to heal up more, he's able to do more abilities, get his cooldowns back faster. And you know how annoying a character like Quicksilver is by taking 2 turns in a row. This is kind of similar in that sense, because he's constantly taking turns in between your characters. He's applying, even in terms of his abilities, he's transferring negative effects to you, and he's just going ham at it. And of course, if this character has offense up, which he gets when an ally dies, all his attacks ignore defense up anyways. And of course, you know, this is what he has. I think that this focus part is kind of redundant, because I think it's a missed opportunity to at least touch up his kit, where if he has 1 or more hero cosmic allies, he gains additional focus and stuff like that. All allies gain 50% focus. I think that they should have added like all annihilated allies to this part of the kit, because he's part of the Annihilators team. He'll definitely not only bring more value to himself, but he also bring more value to the characters around him. I think this is a wasted opportunity, and they should have just added it in because of his team tag. And it's just one change to his kit that they just overlooked, but I think that is something that they could look into. So Scoplay, watching this video, maybe something that you could look into when, as you alter, you know, I know you guys alter your kits all the time. We literally just did it for Captain Britain recently, and Hank Pym as well. Now of course the last part, you know, ties in well with his ultimate, which puts the defense, the heal blocks on your opponents. So all in all, right, is Silver Surfer's kit good? Technically, yes, but I think that it shows the age of its release, because they did not touch up with certain things, right? Obviously, his kit by himself is strong, but there could have been 1 or 2 tweaks to at least help him gel with his allies, right? Which is obviously in this case the Annihilators, right? For example, you know, like giving the resistance and focus to his team, that could have been pretty good. And you know, some of the other things as well, like I don't know, like maybe in Arena his ultimate could have put trauma, right? That could have been a suggestion, but maybe Scopely knew that people wanted to have a guy to replace for a character like Mephisto, Sproul, Apocalypse, so on and so forth, and they just decided that Silver Surfer is the guy to replace. That being said, by virtue of his kit being pretty good by itself, maybe they felt that even outside of Arena, he'll probably have value in game modes like War and Crucible, whether on the team or as a plug and play. So to me, this reminds me a lot about Castro's situation when she was reworked. So I actually went all the way back in time to search for the Pegasus rework, and this is Castro's rework. For those of you who do not know, Castro was released about a month or 2 after Silver Surfer's release, and many people were always tout Castro and Silver Surfer as the best 2 individual characters in the game at that point in time. So Castro definitely didn't have a bit of rework. Obviously, it was a different focus for the Scopely team at that point of time. This was Castro's only rework for the passive, which that Pegasus allies gain 30% focus and resistance, which is why I think that I need to stop calling Quicksilver, which is why I think that Silver Surfer should have given that as well. Should have at least should have added the Annihilator part here, and they should have given this part where Pegasus allies, or in this case Annihilator's allies, gain 50% resistance and focus as well. That is just 2 lines, right? 2 or 3 things to add in, and it would not have broken the character beyond yeah, it wouldn't make the character too broken, but it would make the character more synergist that, okay, you get what I'm trying to say, right? We have more synergy with the team. And so I think that you know, something that they could look into once again. That being said, where do I see the value of Silver Surfer? I think that Silver Surfer, and I probably bring this up in like my Crucible video, I think Silver Surfer can be a very good fifth for multiple teams in both War and Crucible. Obviously, in Arena, he's probably going to be replaced by one of those big baddies like Mephisto and stuff, so we don't talk about that. However, I think that unlike character like Doctor Strange, like Scarlet Witch, where they have no value of their team, I think that he can find value in teams like, for example, Tangle Web with like Castro and Iron Man Infinity War. Most people have Nova, some people put Omega Red. I think that he could be a potential fit for that team. Maybe not as effective against like the Darkhold team, which obviously his mistakes, so it fills out Morgan a little bit more. But in many other teams where they need a fifth, right, where the fifth can be someone who just controls with like ability block, I think that Silver Surfer with his updated stats, right, like his focus, like second highest focus in the game, I think that is where he can find a lot of value in those team comps. In War, you know, people used to use him quite a bit with the A-Force. Obviously now Photon is taking their place, but I wouldn't be surprised if he, you know, as a full Annihilators team, he will work very well there. And even to replace somebody, he can also be a plug and play for like teams like Tangle Web, Undying, potentially, you know, just to give the additional heal blocks to spread, clear immunity, so that Iron Man can come in and do stuff, you know, stuff like that. Obviously they already have Zux, so maybe not that team comp, but like I was saying, like it fit like Tangle Web, right? It could be really good to put him there in those team comps. And obviously on defense, you know, if you have a very big Silver Surfer, you know, the thing about Silver Surfer on defense is that you always have to go for the Silver Surfer first, because if they get to the 45% speed and they just keep taking turns and keep on using their abilities and keep on healing, it can be a nuisance. For those of you who have done Doom 2, the Mutant second node, if I'm not wrong, many of you will remember that Quicksilver Surfer being so annoying to kill that you always had to go for him, and if you don't kill him, then you know that your attempt is screwed. So all in all, what my final thoughts on him is that I think he's a pretty good character still. Obviously, by having virtue or having a good kit, he is still good. Is he still is he like a top 10 character individually? I do not think so. You know, I think that the best I could say about Silver Surfer is that if you want to bring to DD7 or eventually DD8, it's fine. Like it's not bad like that. You're not breaking your account. But I think that, you know, there are obviously better options as well, especially to the rest of the Annihilators team. But I think he's still a pretty good character. I think that there is some age in his kit, but he is not worthless, and I think that he can find some value for players who invest into him. So with that being said, I think that and especially for players who do not have characters like Apocalypse, like new player Apocalypse, Skrull, Old Man Logan, even Mephisto, obviously, I think that by being the full Annihilators team, you will not regret it, because at the very least, if he gets dropped in Arena, he's gonna be used elsewhere. And so I think that I do not agree with the notion that, you know, he is, yes, at power level wise, I don't think he is at the level of a Doctor Strange, a Scarlet Witch, but I think that obviously it has to be said that he is the first to be dropped. But Arena is not the only game mode in this game. There are many more, like Crucible, like War. Obviously Raids, you're not going to use him, right? Raids, you have the Bifrost. But I think that with this, he is definitely a valuable character to your roster. And I think that unless you can't finalize the pieces for Annihilators, I think that he is worth building, or for players who already have him built from the past, to build him up even further. But those are my thoughts. I would like to hear about yours as well. So leave them down in the comments. Please be nice, obviously. Please be kind as well. Do know that I stream live on Twitch, link in the down description below. If you like this video, thumbs up, share, comment, subscribe, all that good YouTube stuff. I'll see you in the next video. Until then, stay healthy, stay safe, be good to yourselves and the people around you. And I will see you guys next time. Bye-bye.